Howdy everyone, and Beta Clone 076 here, obviously, and in case you can't tell from the exhaust note, it's a new bike! Woo woo! I got a new bike I guess it's been almost a month ago now, 4 weeks ago. Got a 94 Honda Magna VF 750. Well, you can see it's got the giant windscreen on it right now because I'm actually taking it down to the shop to sell it because I found an SV650 and I gotta get rid of bikes so I can pick it up since they're holding it for me. So yeah, this has been it's actually, as far as riding it goes and fun, it's everything that I thought the Magna would be. I was actually a little surprised without the windshield how much wind fatigue there was with it. It seems to have a lot more than other cruisers, I guess, where Honda just has you sitting more upright than a lot of other bikes. But I mean, this thing is an absolute blast. I got a good deal on it, and just, it's not what I found out. It's actually not what I want. As much as I love riding it, it is not the right bike to have as a primary rider, which I knew that going into it, which is why I kept the concourse, and I should have just listened to my gut on that it wasn't going to be right to do that. So, but I have enjoyed riding this sucker. I mean, the only complaint I've had, because it's so comfortable, it's got the crash bars on it, I put foot pegs on it, or I guess highway bars and highway pegs on it, and that one peg's shifted out on me some. But I mean, the bike is just really, really comfortable and fun to ride. I mean, the only complaint, like I was saying, was the range on it, where the baffles have been cut out of it, and the jetting is wrong for the baffles to be cut out, and it has some terrible range. I mean, I took it really easy riding with Papa and got like 40 miles to the gallon, got like 120, about 120 or so miles to the tank. But typically I'm having to refill this bad boy every 80 miles or so, and that's been my only complaint, because it's surprisingly nimble, especially considering how everybody talked about how it was such a top-heavy bike and it didn't handle good. I think they're all just crazy, because it handles great for a cruiser, and especially considering that it's a light bike, so obviously it's going to handle reasonably well. I mean, the handlebar position is really good for the stock position, and it just wants to run. I absolutely love that, how hard it pulls. So, and I mean, it just takes turns easily, does everything I've asked out of it except for go well on trips because of the range. It would have been nice to have gotten the kind of range that the stock bikes get out of them, or even the bikes who've had aftermarket exhaust and jet kits put on them, get that kind of range. But finally getting my SV650. It's actually a 2009, so it's newer than what I thought I'd be able to get, and so I gotta get rid of her. But I don't know, this thing is awesome. I am gonna miss that, just the bike itself. The exhaust note's not bad, even though the baffles are cut out. It's a little hollow and loud, but I mean, it's not bad. It gives that funky backfire pop to it. But so anyways, that's enough about my bike, my new bike, that is soon to be my gone bike. So what's up with you people? I've been searching for a bike anyways, and I found out how much I dislike posers. I mean, I knew I didn't like them much anyways, but I mean, especially whenever it comes to riders, it was like, I will not claim to be a good rider at all. I have very little experience, and the experiences that I've had show how little I know, so I won't go saying that I'm a good rider and I'm better than many people. But the thing that drives me nuts is whenever you get somebody who talks about how awesome they ride and all this other stuff, then you go out and ride with them and they're on an R1 and you're on a concourse and you keep on having to slow down for them. That just drove me absolutely nuts. There's a guy that comes down to the shop. I actually like the guy. He's paranoid as all get out, crazy as can be, but I like the guy. It's just that he can't ride. It's like I rode a Suzuki SV1000, running some errands for the shop, so I got to take the shop bike. And there's a section of going up and down the hill, S-turn on each side. And I was on the SB and I wasn't paying attention to the speed. I was just riding. I was pushing 90 miles an hour going up through those S-turns and didn't even notice it. It was like slowed down a little bit. It was like, okay, I slowed down enough to glance down. I'm still running 80. It was like, crap. So the whole reason that I slowed down wasn't because the bike couldn't handle it. It was because of the speed itself, and that I was riding a shop bike. It wasn't my bike. Something happened. I paid for it because of the arrangements down there. So anyway, so I slow it down, and then this poser buys that bike after I've talked about how awesome it is. Everybody who's ridden it's talked about how awesome a bike it is, and he just constantly complains and fusses about it, and about how he can't take turns or anything else. And I was like, dude, it's like, this is what. And I was telling him how riding it, how it handled for me, and he was like, well, you rode a concourse, you can ride anything. And I was like, well, no, it's like, it's just, it handles well. It's like, I will give him one thing though, the front suspension, the forks were set up really soft, which, I mean, riding a concourse, I don't notice it because the suspension is soft in that anyways, but still, it was just the most frustrating thing in the world. Now he's getting rid of it and getting a ZX-10, which is the bike he says he's always wanted, and it scares me because I like the guy. He's a nice guy. It scares me the thought of him getting a ZX-10 because he can't ride that well. And I mean, it's just like an accident waiting to happen, selling him the 10, but I mean, he's got the money and that's what he's getting. And so, I mean, I don't know, there should be like a competency class course that you have to pass in order to own some of these bikes. I mean, at least prove that you can do basic maneuvers, because I did the license test with him, which I had the Shadow. I cheated. I took the Shadow and went through it, and it was like zip, 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 and I was done in like 50 seconds. And he's got his R1 down there, and it took him 3 tries to get through it. And it was actually rather comical watching it, because had a guy with I don't remember what Harley it was a big old 1400, and he just goes zipping through it real quick too, and the guy from the shop, it took him those 3 tries. I mean, he was, the first time that he killed the bike, he was about ready to fail the test, and if he hadn't killed the bike, stalled the bike out, he was going to fail. He'd already put his feet down, was it 2 times or 3 times? I don't remember what it was to fail. It's like, put your foot down 2 times or 3 times or 4 times after the 3rd time, I guess. And he'd already put his feet down 3 times trying to do just the little S-turn. And I mean, I expected him just to go zipping through it. The way that he talks and how long he's been riding, because he's been riding for years. And the way that he talks, I expected him just to go through the course like it was nothing. And he didn't. So, yeah, posers. I can't stand them, apparently. I mean, admit whenever your limits. Don't try and talk yourself up. Because if you're going to talk yourself up, then you're going to have somebody who can ride take you out and ride with you, and you're going to get yourself killed trying to keep up with them. Because you're going to be playing chase. And whenever you play chase, good things don't really happen if you're not a competent rider. If you don't know how to ride, if you're just scared of everything, whatever. I mean, it's going to be bad. So don't talk yourself up around guys who ride, trying to make them think you're cool. It serves no purpose other than to make you look like more of a fool than what you really are, especially whenever you get out there and ride with them. And if they do take you out riding with them, and they're aggressive riders, then you run a good chance of getting yourself killed, or at least hurt, or destroying your bike, and nobody wants to go through that. I mean, there's no reason, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone to wreck. Well, maybe 1 or 2 people. But, I mean, that's not something anybody should have to go through, outside of the flying part. I will tell you, that is awesome, but outside of that, don't pose. Don't act like you're really good at something, especially whenever that's something that you're acting like you're good at, and if you have someone pushing you, could kill you. So, I guess that's really it. It's been a miserable, hot spring in Kentucky. How about you guys? Man, I can't stop coughing today. So, anyways, I guess that's really about all I've got. This has been Beta Clone 076, and talk to y'all real soon.